Have you ever wondered why you react to certain challenges the way you do, or why some situations just trigger that same old feeling of doubt or anxiety? Well, the answer, a lot of the time, lies in a blueprint. It's an inner design that was drafted for us long before we could even hold the pencil. In this explainer, we're going to dig into how that blueprint gets created and, way more importantly, how you can become its new architect.
This simple, really powerful idea is exactly where our story begins. From our very first moments, our family, our caregivers, the company we keep, they aren't just raising us. They're actually designing the foundation of our identity, what we believe, and how we respond to the world emotionally.
And that's a crucial question, isn't it? Because a flawed blueprint doesn't just build a shaky house, it can create a psychological home that feels unsafe or unstable or just confining long into our adult lives. So what do we do about it? Well, we start by understanding the architects. All right, in this first section, we're going to explore how our early environment really forms our core beliefs about ourselves and about the world. These primary architects, our family and caregivers, they're the ones who lay the foundation for our future confidence, our resilience, and our sense of self-worth. So, in a secure environment, a child learns that they're valued, period. Mistakes are just seen as chances to learn. Emotions are validated, and support is, well, it's a constant. This consistency builds this internal sense of safety and the belief that, hey, I am capable. It's basically the blueprint for a resilient adult.
This slide right here really illustrates the two fundamental paths of influence perfectly. Confident, secure caregivers, they uplift others because their own strength isn't threatened by someone else's success. But on the flip side, insecure caregivers often belittle others to try and elevate themselves. The criticism is really a defense mechanism, a projection of their own feelings of inadequacy.
And that brings us to a particularly damaging architectural style, the narcissistic blueprint. When a caregiver shows these kinds of traits, a child's environment becomes all about the caregiver's needs, not their own. Love starts to feel conditional, and your self-worth gets tied to your performance and how much admiration you get. And that creates a deeply unstable foundation.
Now this quote, this offers a really crucial mindset shift. If you grew up with this kind of blueprint, it is so easy to internalize all that criticism. But this reframes it perfectly. The key takeaway here is this: understanding that their words were a confession about them, not a verdict about you, allows us to finally stop owning their narrative.
So once we recognize the blueprint, we can start to see the psychological traps it built into our lives. These are the recurring patterns and cycles that keep us from moving forward, and they're often operating just below the surface of our awareness.
This quote is the perfect way to talk about our first obstacle, the comfort zone trap. For some of us, a childhood that didn't have many challenges can create an adult who's actually afraid of them. We just stick to what we know, not because it's fulfilling, but just because it's safe. But like the quote says, safety is not where growth happens.
And when we stay in that comfort zone for too long, it kind of morphs into what we call the lethargy loop. That initial feeling of safety starts to curdle into stagnation. The drive we used to have just softens, motivation fades, and we can find ourselves feeling adrift without any clear purpose. The very comfort we were looking for becomes the thing that's caging us in.
Okay, now let's look at a more counterintuitive trap, which this quote from Bill Gates just captures perfectly, the confidence trap. This one often catches those of us who had it easy early on, with lots of success. Constant praise and not enough real struggle can actually create a deep fear of failure. Instead of building resilience, it builds an identity that's based on being perfect, making any potential setback feel like a threat to your very sense of self.
So how in the world do we escape these traps? Well, the journey out begins with one single powerful tool: self-awareness. It's like a flashlight that lets us see the tripwires and hidden doors in our own minds, giving us the power to finally navigate them differently.
Let's make this really tangible. Okay, so first you recognize the pattern. Something like when I get feedback, I immediately feel defensive. That's step one. Then you question the belief underneath it. Do I believe that any criticism means I'm a failure? That's step two. And finally, step three, you consciously choose a new response. Okay, instead of defending myself, I'm just going to listen and ask questions. This simple process moves you from being on autopilot to actually being the pilot. Now, with self-awareness as our guide, we can move from just dismantling the old blueprint to actively constructing a new one. This is the reconstruction phase.
This is where we lay a new foundation, brick by brick, using practical, empowering strategies.
The first,
And this quote, it just brings everything together perfectly. It's not the grand sweeping gestures that reshape our lives. It's the small, consistent daily choices. The secret isn't out there somewhere. It's right here, in the quiet discipline of your routine. That is where your future self is being built, right now. So remember, your past does not have to be your future. The original blueprint, it may have been drawn by others, in circumstances that were way beyond your control. But today, right now, you are the one holding the tools. You have the power to renovate, to rebuild, and to design an inner world that is strong, authentic, and truly, finally your own. So what are you going to build first?
Thank you for joining us for this explainer. The sources and a full disclaimer are provided here on this slide for your reference.